can't remember the last time I went to the movies, but I do read reviews sometimes. And I did read a review this week about Barbie. Now, come on, I know you're shy when I ask questions. Put your hands up if you've seen it. Did you put your hand up? Wonderful. This is what a man in the Galveston paper said about that movie. The movie made me think I owe all women, the women in my life, more than I have acknowledged before, and more than I can ever repay. The actress Rhea Perlman plays Ruth Handler, the inventor of the Barbie doll. Toward the end of the movie, we hear her monologue over a montage of old home movies, profound in their simplicity. We mothers stand still so that our daughters can look back to see how far they've come, she says. The line and the movie are both profound and hopeful. That poor woman in the gospel that Deacon Dwight proclaimed. So, women in our congregation, if you came to me and asked a question and I deliberately didn't speak to you, what would your response be? Anger. And when he did speak to her, what did he say? I haven't come for you people. And she continued because she was determined. Even when he said about calling her to all intents and purposes a dog. I'm not sure you'd have stayed around for Kendall's baptismal class. It is the most peculiar gospel. It is the most peculiar gospel. But it does hold some truth, definitely, in it, as to how the church in the past has seen people. How it's cast aside some and elevated others, mainly men. Mainly men. Mainly men. Enough about Barbie. Let's get to St. Theresa of Lisieux. This is what she wrote when she, our patron, was a 15-year-old girl. This is after she came back from Rome. I still cannot understand why women are so easily excommunicated in Italy. For every minute someone was saying, don't enter here, don't enter there, you'll be excommunicated. She goes on to say, poor women, how they are misunderstood. And yet they love God in much larger numbers than men do. One day when we were visiting a Carmelite monastery, not content with following the pilgrims in the outer galleries, I advanced into the inner cloisters. When all of a sudden I saw a good old Carmelite friar at a little distance, making a sign for me to leave. But instead of going, I approached him, and showing him the cloister paintings, I made a sign that they were beautiful. He smiled at me kindly and left. He saw that he was not in the presence of the enemy. Those aren't my words. Those are the words of a canonized saint of the Roman Catholic Church. Not only a saint, but a doctor of the church, and there's not very many of them. So we're hearing today's scripture, particularly the gospel that Deacon Dwight proclaimed. We do well to thank God that people bring their babies to be baptized. So we've got a boy and a girl today wanting baptism. Their parents want them to be baptized into the church. And hopefully it's a church that continues to listen. Perhaps in a way it hasn't listened before. When I was ordained 45 years ago, people that were in irregular marriages or marriages had broken down were treated quite shamefully. Very little hope. But even today, in this diocese, we have a whole team of people who help people, struggling to help people get married in the church. We have a process called annulments. And we put a lot of pastoral care into treating them well. But we don't spread it around to too many other groups that might feel excluded. James Martin, the Jesuit who's often criticized, who wrote a book called Building Bridges, speaks about the lesbian LGBT community and how badly, very often, they're treated in our community. There's a synod, believe it or not, going on, that many of the countries of the world are working to send representatives to Rome. And of course, we have our own representatives going from America. And Pope Francis desperately wants us to listen to the voices of those who feel excluded. It's not easy to be excluded. It's painful to be excluded. And yet we sang at the beginning of this Mass, all are welcome. And so my hope and prayer for our community, that we baptize these new members into, that we will practice what we preach, that we will endeavor to listen to the voices of those who are estranged, those who feel excluded. Because there really are no enemies, just those waiting to be understood, wanting to be listened to. And so hope that we can listen, not just with our minds, but with our hearts. Please like, subscribe, or comment below.